The gap since I left and rejoined seems to have sort of vanished, like salt on a slug, you know. I'm starting to wonder what the heck I did do for those 18 years, because it seems to have melted.
Christine McVie, the soulful voice behind some of Fleetwood Mac's most unforgettable hits, left an indelible mark on the music world with her timeless melodies. Her ability to blend raw emotion with melodic mastery made her one of rock's greatest icons. But behind the music, Christine's personal journey was one of passion, heartache, and resilience. In this video, we dive into the intriguing story of Christine McVie, from her early days in the music scene to the complex relationships that shaped her life and career. We'll explore the ups and downs of her marriages, including her highly publicized split from fellow Fleetwood Mac member John McVie, as well as the profound influence her personal experiences had on her songwriting. Through it all, Christine's music became a means of expression, a way to heal, and a gift that continues to inspire fans worldwide. Stay with us as we uncover the fascinating life of Christine McVie, the woman behind the music. Christine McVie's journey into music began in the vibrant world of 1960s Britain. Born as Christine Perfect, she initially made her mark as a talented pianist and vocalist in the blues band Chicken Shack. Her soulful voice and exceptional musicianship quickly garnered attention in the British music scene. But it wasn't long before her path led her to Fleetwood Mac, where she would leave a permanent legacy. In 1970, after marrying bassist John McVie, Christine officially joined the band, bringing her unique style and melodic talent into the fold. Together, they formed one of rock's most iconic couples, both on stage and off. Christine and John's early years were a blend of love, music, and mutual admiration. They toured together, recorded together, and built a life centered around their passion for music. The bond they shared was rooted in their artistic collaboration, which created some of Fleetwood Mac's most unforgettable songs. Their marriage mirrored the emotional intensity they channeled into their work. They were two creative souls who thrived in the chaotic, high-energy world of rock and roll. But despite the shared success and love for their art, the pressures of the music industry were relentless, and it wasn't long before the strain began to take its toll. Being constantly on the road, moving from city to city, took away the time they needed to nurture their personal relationship. John once remarked, "If we weren't on tour together, we'd hardly see each other, but when we were, it was almost too much." This constant togetherness, while a source of collaboration, began to feel like an emotional trap. The couple was spending all their time in a work setting, often losing the ability to truly connect on a deeper level outside the band. Christine later admitted that the constant proximity became difficult, revealing that they spent nearly every waking hour together in professional settings, without the intimacy needed to sustain a marriage. As Fleetwood Mac reached new heights of success in the mid-1970s, the demands of fame only intensified. Their 1975 self-titled album and the subsequent tour brought them enormous success, but it also brought mounting pressure. The band was now facing heightened expectations from fans and the media, and internal tensions were rising. For Christine and John, the pressures of fame, coupled with unresolved personal issues, pushed them further apart. One of the factors that added to their struggles was their drinking. John, known for his love of liquor, often found solace in after-show parties. Christine, like many musicians of the time, wasn't immune to the temptations of the rock and roll lifestyle. Their shared indulgence in alcohol further distanced them emotionally and created a sense of disconnection. Close friends of the couple have said that alcohol played a major role in preventing them from confronting the deeper issues in their marriage. As their relationship began to crumble, Christine found herself caught up in a whirlwind affair with Fleetwood Mac's lighting director, Curry Grant. This affair, which began during the band's most stressful days, marked a clear turning point in her marriage. It was a painful chapter, one that deeply affected both Christine and John. While John tried to maintain his composure, it was clear that the infidelity took a profound emotional toll on him. In 1976, after years of growing apart, Christine and John officially separated. But their personal lives weren't the only things in turmoil. Despite their separation, they continued to work together in Fleetwood Mac, navigating the complexities of their personal and professional lives. Christine later confessed that working with John after their split was one of the hardest experiences of her life. But they both understood the importance of the band and continued to put the music first, even as their personal relationship had reached its breaking point. The breakdown of Christine and John's marriage was not just a personal matter. It was woven into the fabric of Fleetwood Mac's story. Their emotional struggles and the fallout from their marriage were reflected in the music they created together. The emotional weight of their breakup came through in some of Fleetwood Mac's most iconic songs, especially on the album Rumors. The record, which became one of the best-selling albums of all time, served as a musical diary of the band's turbulent relationships, including Christine's with John. Christine's personal experiences, her heartache, and her strength in moving forward are forever immortalized in her music. Though the collapse of her marriage was painful, it also gave birth to some of Fleetwood Mac's most powerful and enduring songs. Despite the turbulence of their personal lives, Christine and John's ability to work together for the band's success was a testament to their professionalism and commitment to the music they had created together. After Christine McVie's split from John in 1976, her life was in emotional turmoil. The end of her marriage left a deep mark, and she found herself struggling to process the pain and complexities of her personal life. In the midst of this, Christine began a new relationship with Fleetwood Mac's lighting director, Curry Grant. This brief but intense affair provided a temporary escape from the emotional strain she was facing. For Christine, it was a way to feel a connection and perhaps find solace in the chaos. But it also acted as a catalyst for deeper reflection on her marriage and her role in the band. The most striking result of Christine's emotional upheaval was her songwriting. The song "You Make Loving Fun," a track on Fleetwood Max Rumors album, became a mirror for her personal life. It was not just a catchy tune, it was a deeply personal expression of the joy she found in her new relationship. A stark contrast to the emotional pain she was processing from her marriage breakdown. Christine's ability to channel these complex feelings into her music allowed her to express what words alone couldn't. She later admitted that writing and performing "You Make Loving Fun" helped her work through the heartbreak and emotional conflict she was living through. It was music as therapy, a cathartic release in the form of a song that resonated with so many. Despite her emotional challenges, Christine continued to work with John in Fleetwood Mac. They had to maintain a professional relationship, even though the tension between them was palpable. Their shared commitment to the band's success forced them to push through the personal difficulties they were facing. Christine has since said that working with her ex-husband was one of the most difficult experiences of her life, but it was also a reminder of the strength they both had as musicians. Even as their personal lives unraveled, they knew that Fleetwood Mac was bigger than just the two of them. The music always came first, even when emotions were running high. This internal conflict was reflected in Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, the album that became a global phenomenon. As the band's most successful record, it reached unimaginable commercial heights, but it was also an album deeply steeped in personal anguish. Each member of the band, including Christine, poured their emotions into the music, and it became an emotional release for all of them. The tension within the band, particularly between Christine and John, was so palpable that it became a driving force behind the album's creation. Christine's songwriting during this time was a way for her to process and cope with the emotional wreckage of her personal life. Rumors is often considered one of the most personal albums ever made, with each song serving as an open window into the band members' complicated relationships. Christine's track Songbird, for example, became an anthem of vulnerability and emotional depth, reflecting her struggles while also celebrating the beauty of love. For Christine, songwriting became a way of making sense of everything that was happening around her, creating art out of pain and heartache. Despite the emotional turbulence, Fleetwood Max Rumors was a massive commercial success. The album sold millions of copies worldwide, and its singles, including Go Your Own Way, Dreams, and You Make Loving Fun, became part of the cultural landscape. The band's ability to produce such a powerful album, despite the emotional chaos within the group, speaks to their professionalism and dedication to their craft. Yet, the success was bittersweet, as it highlighted the contrast between the band's public triumph and the private struggles each member was facing. For Christine, it was both a victory and a reminder of the emotional challenges she had to overcome. Through it all, Christine's ability to channel her personal pain into music is what made her one of Fleetwood Mac's most beloved members. Her songwriting not only helped her navigate the complexities of her life, but it also created music that would stand the test of time. Rumors is an album that continues to resonate with fans decades later, not just because of its commercial success, but because of the raw emotion that was poured into each song. For Christine, the music became more than just a career. It became a way to heal, connect, and ultimately move forward. After her split from John McVie, Christine McVie entered another intense chapter of her personal life, this time with Dennis Wilson, the drummer of the Beach Boys. Dennis, known for his free-spirited nature and wild lifestyle, was both alluring and dangerous. Christine was drawn to his magnetic personality, and their relationship quickly deepened. She once described Dennis as sweet and dangerous, someone who could make you feel like the most important person in the world, yet also pull you into unpredictable and often reckless situations. It was a love that was as passionate as it was chaotic, and it left a lasting emotional mark on Christine. Despite the highs of their connection, their relationship was far from stable. Dennis was battling his own demons, particularly with substance abuse. His struggles with alcohol and drugs added an unpredictable and destructive element to their relationship. Christine, who had already experienced the emotional toll of her previous marriage, found herself caught between her love for Dennis and the reality of his instability. While she was deeply in love with him, she also came to realize that she couldn't continue to live in the turmoil his lifestyle brought. The chaos became too much for her, and she made the difficult decision to leave Dennis for the sake of her own well-being. Leaving Dennis was no easy choice for Christine. She loved him deeply, but she also knew that she had to protect herself from the toxic environment that surrounded their relationship. It was a painful chapter in her life, one that left her questioning how to find peace amidst the emotional wreckage. Christine later admitted that while she loved Dennis, she knew that she couldn't save him. She couldn't bear to stay in a relationship that was spiraling out of control. And eventually, the separation became a necessary step for her to regain control over her life. The emotional scars of that time were only deepened when, in 1983, Dennis tragically passed away. His death, which came as a result of drowning after years of battling personal struggles, was a shock to Christine. She said it was one of the most devastating moments of her life. Despite the pain and turmoil that had defined their relationship, Dennis's death left Christine heartbroken. She struggled to come to terms with the loss of someone she had loved deeply. And it was a moment that marked the end of an era in her emotional life. It was a tragic conclusion to a passionate and tumultuous relationship, and the impact of his passing lingered with Christine for years. Dennis Wilson's death in 1983 was a reminder to Christine of the fragility of life and the complexity of relationships. Despite the turmoil they had experienced together, she reflected on the deep emotional bond they had shared. It was a love that, in its own way, was genuine, but it was also marked by pain and the inability to overcome the obstacles that came with Dennis's struggles. His death served as a tragic punctuation to a chapter of Christine's life, one that had been filled with both emotional highs and deep lows. Christine's time with Dennis Wilson, though brief, was an important part of her personal journey. It was a relationship that shaped her understanding of love, self-preservation, and the boundaries needed to protect her emotional health. While Dennis's passing left her grieving, it also marked the beginning of her healing process, allowing her to refocus on her career and move forward from the emotional challenges she had faced. Through it all, Christine learned that sometimes love, no matter how deep, isn't enough to overcome the forces of addiction and instability, and that taking control of her own well-being was the only path forward. In 1986, Christine McVie entered a new chapter of her personal and musical life with her marriage to Eddie Quintella, a talented musician and songwriter. Eddie, who was a key collaborator with Fleetwood Mac, quickly became not only her husband, but also her creative partner. Together, they crafted some of the band's most memorable songs, including the hit Little Lies. Their partnership was grounded in a shared love for music, and Christine found that working closely with Eddie brought out a new wave of creativity. The combination of their personal and professional relationship allowed them to blend their artistic visions, creating music that was both deeply personal and universally resonant. However, balancing a personal and professional relationship is never easy, especially in the high-pressure world of rock and roll. Christine and Eddie's marriage, though built on mutual respect and love, faced its own challenges. The dynamic of living and working together can strain even the strongest of relationships, and maintaining that balance between intimacy and collaboration was a delicate process. Despite their strong bond, the pressures of constantly being in the public eye, coupled with the ongoing demands of Fleetwood Mac's schedule, made it difficult to maintain the harmony they sought both at home and in the studio. Still, their shared passion for music and mutual respect kept them together for many years, though eventually the toll of both their personal and professional lives became more evident. As the 1990s rolled in, Christine began to reassess her priorities. The constant touring, the never-ending media attention, and the exhaustion from years of intense public scrutiny left her feeling drained. After nearly 2 decades of giving her all to Fleetwood Mac, Christine made the decision to step away from the band. This wasn't an easy choice, but it was one that was necessary for her well-being. She needed a break, a chance to recharge and focus on her personal life, far from the chaos of the music industry. In the early 1990s, she retreated to a peaceful home in the Kent countryside in England, a place that allowed her to rediscover a sense of calm and serenity that had been missing from her hectic years in the spotlight. In Kent, Christine embraced a quieter, simpler lifestyle. She spent her days tending to her garden, playing the piano, and writing music for herself rather than for a wider audience. The solitude and peace of the countryside allowed her to reconnect with herself in a way that had been impossible while constantly on the road. It was during this time that Christine came to a deep understanding of the importance of self-love and the need for peace in her life. She found solace in nature and in the time spent reflecting on her journey. The years of touring and the pressures of fame had taken their toll, and now, in the quiet of Kent, Christine could finally breathe, focusing on her own happiness and creativity. Christine also spent this time reflecting on the complexities of her past relationships and the lessons they had taught her. The idea of balance, both in her personal life and her career, became central to her understanding of herself. Music, she realized, was not just a career, it was a part of her soul. But in her later years, she began to see that it was not the only thing that defined her. The peace she found in Kent allowed her to prioritize her well-being, something she hadn't fully done during her years of constant touring. This retreat wasn't just about stepping away from the limelight. It was about rediscovering what truly mattered to her. In the years that followed, Christine continued to write music, but now it was for herself, not for anyone else's expectations. There were no record contracts, no deadlines, just the pure joy of playing and creating when she felt inspired. This period of quiet reflection and self-care helped her reclaim her sense of peace, allowing her to gain clarity on what she wanted from the next phase of her life. In 2014, after nearly 2 decades of living a more private life, Christine McVie made a surprising return to Fleetwood Mac. Her decision to rejoin the band was unexpected, not only for the fans, but also for her bandmates. Christine had spent years away from the spotlight, living in the peaceful solitude of the English countryside, focused on herself, her music, and finding balance. Yet, as time passed, she began to feel a longing for the stage, for the energy of the audience, and for the camaraderie she shared with her bandmates. It wasn't just the music that called her back. It was the emotional connection she felt with the band and the fans, a connection that had never truly left her heart. Her return was about more than just performing. It was an emotional and artistic decision, driven by the realization that Fleetwood Mac had always been a part of her. Christine had spent years reflecting on her legacy, her music, and her place within the band's history. The joy she felt from performing, from sharing those special moments with an audience, was something she had missed deeply. Coming back wasn't just about reuniting with her bandmates. It was about reconnecting with the very essence of who she was as an artist. Christine explained that, after all these years, she realized how much she had missed the music and the special bond she shared with the people who supported Fleetwood Mac through the years. When Christine returned to Fleetwood Mac, it felt like a new chapter for both the band and their fans. The reunion brought a fresh energy to the group, revitalizing the dynamic that had made them one of the most iconic bands in rock history. For the fans, it was like welcoming back a long-lost friend. The announcement of her return sparked a wave of excitement and anticipation, and when the band hit the stage again, the response from the audience was electric. Fleetwood Mac's classic lineup was finally back together, and the excitement was palpable. The impact of Christine's return was not just felt by the band, but by fans around the world. Her music, her voice, and her presence on stage had always been a vital part of Fleetwood Mac's identity, and seeing her back with the band filled a void that many had long felt. For longtime fans, Christine's return was a celebration of the magic that had defined Fleetwood Mac's legacy. Her songs had resonated with generations of listeners, offering comfort, joy, and solace in times of struggle. With Christine back in the fold, those timeless songs took on new meaning, and the bond between the band and their audience grew even stronger. The special connection fans had with Christine's music was evident everywhere. From the moment she stepped on stage, the love and admiration from the crowd were overwhelming. Many fans shared how her songs had helped them through tough times, how Songbird or Everywhere had been there during their darkest days, offering a sense of hope and connection. For them, Christine wasn't just a musician. She was a companion through life's ups and downs, and her return was a reminder of the power that music can have to heal and uplift. Christine's return wasn't just about nostalgia. It was about acknowledging the enduring strength of her artistry. Her voice, her songwriting, and her emotional depth were as vital as ever, and the response from the fans showed just how deeply they still connected with her music. Whether through the comforting tones of Songbird or the upbeat energy of Little Lies, Christine's presence on stage reminded the world why she had always been a central figure in Fleetwood Mac's success. Her return was not only a milestone for the band, but also a poignant reminder of the lasting impact she had on the hearts of millions of fans around the globe. As Christine McVie entered her later years, she took time to reflect on the extraordinary journey her life had been. Looking back, she saw a career that had spanned decades, filled with both triumphs and personal struggles. Throughout it all, Christine's music had been a constant, a way to express herself, to process her emotions, and to connect with others. Her reflections were not just about the songs she wrote or the albums she recorded, but about the lessons she learned along the way. Christine had discovered the value of self-care, peace, and simplicity, and she understood the importance of finding a balance in life, something that had often eluded her during the years of intense touring and fame. Christine's contributions to music are undeniable. As one of Fleetwood Mac's key members, her voice and songwriting became the emotional core of the band. Songs like Songbird, Everywhere, and Little Lies became timeless anthems, resonating with fans across generations. These tracks were more than just melodies. They were deeply personal expressions of love, loss, and resilience. Christine knew that her music had touched the lives of millions, but what mattered most to her was the impact it had on people's hearts. She felt incredibly grateful to have created music that could provide comfort, solace, and joy, even long after it was first recorded. Christine was always humble about her place in music history. She often spoke about the profound connection she felt with her fans and how their love and support had meant so much to her. As time passed, she came to appreciate the legacy she had built, knowing that her songs would continue to live on for generations. For Christine, music wasn't just about fame or accolades. It was about creating something that could help others, something that could bring people together. And that was her greatest accomplishment, knowing that her art had made a difference in the lives of so many. In her final years, Christine embraced a quieter, more peaceful life. She had spent so much of her career in the spotlight, constantly on the move and immersed in the pressures of fame. But now she sought simplicity. Living in Kent, England, Christine found peace in nature, gardening, and spending time with those closest to her. She continued to play the piano and write music for herself, but it was no longer about the demands of a career. It was about her own fulfillment. She had learned that true happiness came from within, from the relationships she nurtured, the music she created for her own enjoyment, and the sense of peace she had found in her later years. Christine's legacy is one that will continue to inspire long after she has gone. Her music, particularly songs like Songbird and Everywhere, will always be a part of Fleetwood Mac's story, as well as the soundtrack to the lives of countless fans. These songs were more than just hits. They were deeply reflective of Christine's own journey, her heartache, and her triumphs. They encapsulated the raw emotion and beauty that Christine brought to her music, and they will forever stand as a testament to her unique voice and songwriting talent. Christine McVie's place in the history of Fleetwood Mac is firmly cemented. She was the emotional heart of the band, and her songwriting was integral to their sound. The enduring popularity of Fleetwood Mac's music, and her songs in particular, speaks to the timeless nature of her artistry. Even as she stepped back from the spotlight in her later years, Christine's influence continued to ripple through the music world. Her songs, her voice, and her spirit will always be a part of Fleetwood Mac's legacy, and they will continue to inspire both fans and artists for years to come. Christine's life was a testament to the power of music to heal, connect, and transcend time, and her impact will never be forgotten. Christine McVie's journey was one of passion, resilience, and creativity. As a key member of Fleetwood Mac, her music became the emotional backbone of the band, with songs that transcended time and spoke to generations of fans. Through her personal struggles and triumphs, Christine's ability to channel her emotions into her art was nothing short of inspiring. Whether it was through the soulful melodies of Songbird or the upbeat energy of Everywhere, Christine's songs connected deeply with listeners around the world. Her legacy is not just in her music, but in the strength and creativity she embodied both on stage and in her personal life. Christine's story is a powerful reminder that no matter the challenges, the spirit of music can heal and inspire. We'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite Christine McVie song? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the world of music.